Why should we not be? Is that not a core fundamental point of American society?
No. Has democracy appeared anywhere in the Constitution?
You said you have an issue with the government not representing the will of the people. So if you personally have an issue with that, then why do you support him if that is not the will of the people?
Right. So will and majority are two different things. Right? So are we a democracy? You're not here. Are we a democracy?
Should we be?
No, but are we?
Why should we not be? Is that not a core fundamental point of American society?
No. Has democracy appeared anywhere in the Constitution?
Oh my God, man. I don't even know who Charlie Kirk is, bro. But these videos are always so funny to me because I'm in college too. So like, when you in college, you really think you know everything. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, you really think you know everything because you gotta think. College is like the highest form of education. Unless you get like a doctorate or something, when you're in college, that's the highest form of education that you can have. So it's just like, we really be thinking we know stuff. So when we debate like actual professionals, we like, yeah, I got this. We be getting carried. And it's just kind of funny, like she's so silent right now. But yeah, man, let's continue.
I mean, that is genuinely a valid point. However, your point of the government should represent the people, why is it that democracy is not in the Constitution? Or why is it that you believe that the will of the majority is not as important as the will of the minority if your issue specifically is the government should represent the people better?
Good question. So we believe in the Electoral College. Why? Because Kansas deserves a voice. Because Missouri deserves a voice. And it's the most important way I could distill it is the union we have is the states created it, the federal government didn't create it. So the kind of price of admission is every state gets 2 senators, congressmen based on population, and then electoral votes based on that population. So you kind of get a mix of both. And it's also this tension. And I would ask the question, if we abolished the Electoral College, do you think that the needs, wants, and interests of Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, North, South Dakota, Montana would be taken as seriously as New York and California? That would be my...
Bro, honestly, bro, I did not know that the states, like, I guess, put the Electoral College into place. Because I'm going to be honest, y'all, I didn't like the not affirmative action, I'm sorry. This had nothing to do with affirmative action. I didn't like the Electoral College, if I'm being honest. Because I'm not in a state... I'm not going to tell you exactly where I'm at, but I'm not in a state that has a little bit of people. So if you look at it like this, if the Electoral College didn't exist, my state would probably have a stronger voice in comparison to states like, I guess, Montana or Idaho. But when he starts to break it down, I'm like, okay, that kind of makes a lot of sense because it was firstly formatted by the states of America. So if we get rid of the Electoral College, then I guess California and New York would basically determine every president for like the next 200 years or something crazy like that. So I wasn't really thinking about it in terms of that because I was a high school kid, I guess. I didn't like it. But now that I'm starting to learn more about it, bro, it kind of makes a little more sense. Because if we didn't have it, California and New York would literally be the only states that basically mattered. Like, probably Texas too. California, New York, Texas. You could probably slip in Florida, probably. It'd be a 2-on-2. Every single election, 2-on-2. But yeah.
My question to you.
Do you believe that some citizens are more valuable than others? Because in our current system, some people's votes hold more sway than others. Because people in like Wyoming, who have smaller populations, have more say than places like here in Missouri and Kansas. Why is this acceptable if it's, again, your issue is the will of the people?
Because we're not a democracy. So a democracy is simple majoritarianism. So let me give you an example. In a democracy, by up or down vote, you could say, I want to enslave black people.
Whoa.
A constitutional republic says, no, you're going to have to go through a process to do that. So let me ask you a question. Do you think the majority of the will of the people could ever be wrong?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the founding fathers knew it could almost assuredly be wrong, right? So the system of a republic versus a democracy is it has to be slow and arduous and intentional. because it has a preference on liberty, right, not on free stuff. And so over a period of time, how do you best protect liberty? Well, you got to spread over all the representation over space and time, right? So you do it over a lot of states, a lot of square miles, a lot of acreage, and it takes a lot of time to take over the federal government.
Bro, this dude is so smart, bro. Like, I never even thought about it like that. Because I am also a college student. Like, this is kind of like him talking to me, because her viewpoints, and y'all, please don't be too hard on her. Her viewpoints aren't that crazy from a college student's perspective. Like, I was thinking the same thing. Why do we have an electoral college? I don't understand. It should just be a majority vote. Like, but then he's like, well, we're not a democracy. He's kind of right, because if we were a democracy and the public, like the mass public just wanted to do something, it's done. It's done instantly. Like that. That would be a crazy country to live in. Because just imagine you wake up one day and the majority vote says, oh, no more cars anymore. They're destroying the environment. Now you got to walk to work. You got to wake up and walk to work. That is crazy.
You have to win an election, and then an election, an election. It's not impossible. We eradicated slavery. We gave women the right to vote. So it's possible to get change done. But the Founding Fathers were less concerned about getting progress done really quickly, and they were more concerned with the government doing bad stuff too quickly. Does that make sense?
But that is not what you said. You said that your specific problem is the government does not do the will of the people. Why is it that your will and what you want is more important than that of the majority?
Well, it's not my will, it's the framers and the system we have. But to answer your question, I believe the best way to determine the will of the people is through states' rights and states' directives. If Kansas wants to say, hey, we can have decentralized gun laws or school choice, God bless Kansas. And so the question is not, it's national will also versus state will, right? So we have to recognize that the values of someone in Kansas, in Manhattan, Kansas, is a lot different than the values of someone in Manhattan, New York.
That's facts, because it's called the United States of America. So we aren't just, the foundation of America is that we have different states. And if you kind of think about it, every single state or majority of states in different locations are completely different. Like, let's say you're from Texas and you go to New York. It's like you're almost in a different country, because that's how different the states are in the way they operate, the way we talk, the way we dress. It's just different. So when you're talking about the foundation of America, saying like, yeah, every state should also have a voice, I kind of agree, because everyone has pride in their state. Like, where are you from? You probably have pride in where you're from too. Like, yeah, I'm from here. We dress this way. We talk like this. We eat like this. We party like this. We turn up like it's just how the world works. That's what I love about America. Every single state is like its own little country. It's kind of amazing.
It's a lot different. And so through a democracy, it'd say, hey, the people of New York City want to have firearms confiscated. I don't think that dog's going to hunt in Manhattan, Kansas. Well, Kansas State University, so I don't know. But it allows, answer your question, it allows people that disagree with one another to live in the same nation. You see, a Republican-style government, small r, allows people that might agree on almost nothing to still engage in self-government while still having a national project to participate in. So to clarify it even more, it is a question of the consent to the governed. If it was just a democracy, it would be an up or down vote on every single person, and that's it. The Founding Fathers saw that fail time and time again. Athenian democracy, people just vote themselves stuff. So they said, we have to have some sort of system that realizes that if men were angels, government would not be necessary, but men are not angels, so we got to create some sort of government. Federalist 51, as Madison said. So we got to figure this out. So government is necessary, but we don't want to have too big a government, and people are just going to vote themselves stuff all the time. So how do we do that? Well, local is better than national. We got to have some sort of a national influence, and so they created the great balance between Jeffersonian and Hamiltonian type philosophy, as we know, is the U.S. Constitution. And the one thing they all agreed on, though, is human nature. They knew that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that people were likely to abuse it. So I would just kind of counter by saying,
bro, that's facts, because even if you look at, it's like this term going around called cancel culture. That's kind of the majority, where the majority of people vote that you are getting canceled, I guess. It's like on social media, whatever the crap. So that kind of goes into what he's talking about now. If we were a democracy, imagine if the government was cancel culture. Like the government saying, oh yeah, the majority of people think this way now, then the world is this now. Like that would be crazy country. That would have been an insane country. Like I remember when people were saying like defund the military. I completely disagree. But if you defund the military and the majority of people think this way, or the majority of the loudest voices think this way, who's going to defend us from other countries? Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's just some takes in the public that are just don't make much sense because majority of people don't even understand what's going on. So this is right.
The will of the people can be best expressed through a multi-state project. For example, I believe an election is much healthier and much more representative by requiring candidates to go to Iowa, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and not just spending time on the coast. Because you know why? It might seem as if, oh, we don't need those flyover states. We don't need them. First of all, that's arrogant, prideful, and wrong. How exactly are you going to feed your family, and where do you think the breadbasket of the world comes from? The founders saw ahead, and final thing I'll say is this, is that it was Hamilton or it was Madison that said, we cannot have the tyranny of the cities over the farmers. And that's built into our system. Thank you for being here tonight. I got to get to the next question. Thank you.
That's facts, man. That was extremely good, man. If y'all have any suggestions for me, comment down below, email me, and I'll see y'all on the next one.